Okay everybody, my name's Nick Dutch. I'm doing this video as a unrehearsed, unscripted, impromptu video on the subject of making money online doing live advice, which is of course basically what I do. There's a good reason that I'm doing this. I feel that people are under a lot of pressure these days because in the UK a lot of the benefits are going, more and more people will require some form of extra income, part-time, spare time, whatever. And so this is what I'm telling you about at the moment. I can only tell you what I know uh, based upon my experiences in the various companies that I work through. There's obviously an awful lot more to know about this particular industry or this particular way of working, but suffice it to say, you'll still have to do plenty of research, but the thing to do is to be sufficiently motivated to do research, to do a few experiments, and to try and work out what works best for yourself, taking into account your knowledge and your knowledge of working online. The methods that I use is via the telephone, via internet chat, okay, as well as via email to try and sell a service to people. Obviously the services that I provide are a combination between therapy and entertainment, because my job is to be a tarot reader, okay, that's what I do. But you may have other specialist knowledge and skills. You may be a qualified, experienced professional counselor. You may be someone who knows a lot about IT, working with computers. You may be someone who's a web designer and you want to teach people how to do web design online. You may indeed be an academic professional, let's say a lecturer or a tutor, and you want to try and find a way of helping more people to learn as well as to make some money on the side through educating people. These are just some of the few possibilities. There's lots of others such as tax advice and so on and so forth. So bear that in mind and try and find a method which suits you best. I do most of my work through a company called Keen.com, which is connected to an organization called Ingenio, spelled with a letter I at the beginning. Keen.com is on the website Keen.com. Ingenio, I believe, is just Ingenio.com. And they work on a telephone-based system. And they also do some of the promotion for you, which therefore may lower some of the initial overheads, unlike another system which is also operated via Ingenio/Keen.com, which is called Ether, ETHER, which provides you with the Call Me Now web to phone button, but relies upon you to promote it yourself. So that particular system, the Ether system, is only there if you've got a very good internet presence already. Maybe you've got a blog or a forum which gets an awful lot of views and you want to try and monetize your audience through selling them a personal professional service. That would be better for the Ether.com system. If you're working via Keen.com, then it's a different kettle of fish, because although you can still promote, which I do as well, to try and get some extra customers, you will also be provided a fair number via the system and the website which you would be using. Another key website which you can use is liveperson.com/experts. The system used to be called Kasamba and was based initially in Israel. It's now connected to the eastern United States, if I remember correctly, probably New York area, because that's where the time zones work from. And they provide you with an internet chat system, and if you have a US phone number, you can also connect via the telephone that way as well, using Skype or just with your standard landline telephone if you happen to be an American. The benefits of using Keen.com is that you've got the freedom of using the telephone. I use a cordless, so therefore I can walk around my flat and talk, which is a much better way of getting a message across. You can gesticulate more, and it's more like holding a conversation, which the customers prefer. When you're choosing your prices, obviously you've got to think about how new you are in the market. Maybe you can raise your prices with time, but it's often a good idea to start low. If you're working on a system which has a pay-per-click marketing system, you might want to use that, but you still got to have enough currency to be able to cover the cost of your marketing to purchase essentially the new customers. But with the passage of time, you may be able to bid less, or indeed start with very low bids, such as just 1 cent. so that you appear on the featured listing section and just have very low call costs to try and attract new people who will be looking for a good deal. Okay? You have to think about your presentation skills definitely, because the way in which you communicate will provide a better customer experience for the callers themselves. So if you got the wrong emotions when you're going on online or on the phone, don't go online. Okay? And if you've got a good background of experience with either customer services or telephone sales, you would be ideal for this kind of work, because that work experience will be able to come forward in the work which you'll be doing as well. So that's also very important. There's different styles. I mean, I've found when you're communicating via chat as opposed to communicating via telephone, you can sometimes be more informal depending upon the way in which the client operates, because of the psychology of using chat as a means of communicating with people. Okay, so these are things that you've got to bear in mind. There is a problem with doing live advice, and that is you've got to be patient and just wait for the customers to call, and that can leave you with long periods of time in which basically you're doing nothing. So you may have something else you want to do online. Obviously I spend a lot of my time on YouTube, which serves to entertain me, as well as keeping my energy bills down, because I'm still using the computer, which is on all the time, as opposed to turning the television on. I have noticed that the money really flows out of the electric meter when I have both the television on and the computer on at the same time. But if you're going to have the TV as part of your background entertainment, it'll be more worthwhile using a DVD or something else like that which you can pause. Otherwise you'll feel distracted, and it will be difficult to get yourself out of the mindset of chilling out watching something on TV as opposed to getting on the phone, which is another reason why my background entertainment is YouTube. You might also want to download, let's say, a Kindle book and read that, something which you can just put aside the moment a call comes through, basically no matter what it is. If you're already working full-time and permanently, live advice can still be a good thing for yourself, so long as you do it in the evenings and at the weekends, which means you've got to put time aside, which you might normally spend going out or having an extendedly long shopping trip, just to be able to be indoors and answer the phone, okay, or answer the internet chat, or answer the emails that come through. So it does involve you being able to put off some appointments. You'll also have to think about what time of day your customers are more likely to come online, and this is learned through experience, and you get to understand that different times of day you're more likely to get customers from, let's say, different time zones, as well as customers who've got probably different concerns, taking into account when they're actually getting in touch and communicating with you. Okay, if it's in the dead of the night where they are, they may have one type of concern. If it's the early afternoon, they may have another. So you can think about the kinds of inquiries that you want to get, as well as the kind of call flow or call volume that you're getting into the service that you're providing. Okay, you won't get the full cash value of whatever it is you're charging. You will only get a certain percentage of that, and usually with whichever service you're using. Obviously there's plenty others out there, such as the Circle of Stars or Ask.com, as well as Oranum, which operates through Skype, I think it is. You'll have to do some cost-benefit analysis and factor that into your pricing. And also you have to realize that you're not earning an hourly wage. This is something which some people seem to find difficult, and they try and account for the quantity of money they're anticipating in earning during the day, week or month on the basis of an hourly rate, when essentially that's not the case at all. And often you have to spend extra time online in order to try and make up your sales volume or your revenue during the day. If you are going through a pay-per-click system, alright, which is what I do on Keen, you have to be aware that some days you will just lose money, not make money, which means you can end up with less money in your account online than you would if you weren't bidding at all. But on the other hand, sometimes it's worth the risk. Again, do yourself a spreadsheet analysis maybe, and work out how much you're taking on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, and work out how much of that money has actually gone on the clicks, and whether you can lower that and choose something else, such as marketing yourself via a YouTube account, via Twitter, via Facebook, or any other form of social media in which you've already got yourself a certain percentage of audience on the basis of past blogging. If you think of doing live advice at some later point in your career, it might be worthwhile spending time right now beginning to build up an audience which is based upon that particular concept. So let's say you would like to provide live advice on, let's say, taxation. It would be worthwhile putting out a few blogs on, let's say, a weekly basis on tax revenue to the government, how much the government gets, some of the various loopholes that people might want to play around with, and also earning thresholds. So that might also be very useful to people as a free information resource, and will also build trust online about who you are and what you're about. That's just one possibility. Other people might want to get straight into it straight away and do their blogging part-time as a means of generating possibly extra customers, although you can't guarantee that blogging yourself, creating a blog, a video blog, Twitter or whatever, will necessarily bring extra work in. There can be a delayed reaction because people will have to search for the actual media that you're creating. They'll have to be the kind of person who will actually enjoy it, and then they'll have to be the kind of person who is likely to spend money on the service themselves. So their demographic in terms of cash or interest is something else you've also got to bear in mind. Doing a hard sale doesn't really work in this particular case. It is a soft sale business, the way I see it, because it's based upon trust, it's based upon people knowing who you are, not only in terms of your job, but also your experience, your character, your personality, and they've got to have faith in you. So you've got to be a person with a good ethical background if you want to get yourself regular customers who will actually want to spend money with you. So it's rather different from other forms of online sales, which might be a little more aggressive and might be a bit more, I would say, one-sided. So obviously that's something else to bear in mind. Also, be aware that when you're dealing with your customer on the telephone or on the internet chat or email, they are the most important person in the world when you're talking to them. Okay, you may find that customer stressful, but on the other hand, you have to put that aside. You have to be good in terms of your coping skills and having a life which is, I would say, for want of a better word, spiritual, or indeed influenced by meditation and other relaxation practices, such as the use of a mind machine, might also be something which could be of use to yourself because it can help you to relax and not get panicky. One thing I've also found is that it's important, very important, to look after your sleep patterns. There is a temptation to just, drink plenty of strong coffee and stay up all night. But when you do that, you can find yourself flagging mentally, which can have a detrimental impact upon your ability to get on with the customers and in fact to do the work. So literally looking after your health is the most important thing you can do for maintaining your personal efficiency, so that when you get those calls coming in, you can be the best you can to that customer. Okay, some people in the new age world, they talk about, being an efficient person or an effective person, but they don't really know what that phrase means. Essentially, if you look after your diet, your nutrition, your exercise, and your sleep, obviously I'm pretty stacked on the exercise side of things. I'm quite honest about that. But if you look after yourself, you will be a more efficient individual. And if you can carry on striving for personal further education about the service that you're providing, as well as about anything else which might help to stimulate your ability to think about the issues which are being given to you on a daily basis, down the telephone or internet chat or email, will also reap further rewards. Any other courses of part-time education which you can do may also be relevant, either directly as a result of giving you the knowledge that you need to help your clients, or indirectly because it gives you the ability to think more about the requirements of the individuals and what it is they want to achieve, again, so that you can serve them better. There's always a two-way aspect to education. On one side of things it's knowledge driven, on the other side of things it's skills driven, and the skills that you get aren't necessarily the skills which you would use or you would assume you would use directly within the workplace. But there will often be a crossover which can essentially be beneficial to you as well. So there's just a few pointers as to how to make some money online using live advice. Also, it's recommended that you have yourself a website and you find extra ways of putting your links out there in the world so that people are aware that this is a service that you are selling, and they can make a valid judgment as to whether they wish to purchase anything or whether they wish to purchase directly from yourself. Don't feel alarmed or concerned or afraid if someone buys from somebody else and not from you. It could be that that person resonates better with their character and their energy rather than necessarily the customers that you get. So everyone is selling themselves as a product, so to speak, okay, a human product. And that's something that you also just quite simply have to think about, okay? You will attract to yourself the customers which are right for you, not necessarily all the customers in the whole wide world. This is not just about making big bucks. This is about making a difference. And when you're making a difference, you will feel fulfilled. All right, whether you're taking tons of money or whether you're just taking enough to keep yourself alive.